Welcome to the show. This is your girl, Felina B. Flossin.
And I'm Monickie Scott. We're so excited to have you join us today. You know, in this world we live in, everybody's looking for that 5-star rating. But the question is, how well do you rate yourself?
Yes, and it is our intention that by listening to this podcast, the 5-Star Living Show, we will help you move towards your own 5-star rating by finding ways to live life more balanced by focusing on the mind, body, soul, while laughing and loving.
Yes, and today we're going to focus on the inner you. The only person that is with you 24/7 is the inner you.
Yeah.
You often hear that question being asked, what would you go back and tell your younger self? Or what advice would you now give your older self? Well, we want to know, what are you currently telling your inner self? Everybody talks to themselves on a daily, right?
Yeah.
Some do affirmations while others are very self-critical and constantly putting themselves down. The fact of the matter is that we do it, so why not do it better?
Yes.
This topic came about after seeing some comments that were being left in certain conversations on social media, as well as just paying close attention to conversations that we're having with others and sometimes with our own self. So let's get started. One of the first conversations is that you may be currently having or telling yourself is, how could I be so stupid? I mean, how many times have you either said this out loud or just silently to yourself?
Yeah.
You know, where often it could be something as little as we drop a plate when we're walking and we're just like, I'm so stupid. Wow, how could I do that? Yeah. But the reality is you dropped the plate.
Right.
There's a reason why you dropped it. You tripped. You did something, right? The conversation you should be having is, what did I learn from this? Or how can I do that better next time? Right?
Very true.
It shows up a lot in relationships.
Yes, it does.
After a bad one happens, probably from both sides, the person's gone, and all you're sitting around doing is saying, "Oh, how could I be so stupid for letting that happen to me?
Right.
How could I have just not seen that?" Well, the truth of the matter is you couldn't have seen it because you didn't know.
Yeah, it's true.
But now that you know better,
right, you
do better.
Exactly.
So instead of always stopping so quickly and saying, "Ooh, that was dumb," or "I'm dumb," or, just stop, breathe, and say, what did I learn from this? What did I learn from this relationship?
Exactly.
What am I going to do the next time this happens?
Very true.
Or how can I do it better the next time?
Yeah, very good. Other conversations you could be having is, I'm just too busy. We say that when it comes to doing something we love or following a dream or pursuing a goal. I'm just too busy.
Too busy. I don't have time.
Yeah, and if we say that, what we say we kind of gear our lives.
You put it out there in the universe.
You put it out there. So if you say you're too busy, guaranteed.
You're too busy.
You're too busy. And what maybe you should be saying is, what I can be doing less of so that I could be doing more of this.
Right.
Figuring out a way to etch out that time.
Right. So you're sitting around and you're wanting, there's obviously something that you want to get done. There's a dream that you want to pursue. There's a passion that you want to do more of. But in your daily life, you're sitting around going, I'm too busy. I can't do it. I'm too busy. I don't have time. But actually, if you sit down and you map out and you look at your daily list of time, what's on that schedule that you can actually take away from?
Maybe some of that social media time.
Not only that, sometimes even TV. I got to go see my favorite show.
Yeah.
Right? That happens, but your passion and your dream is sitting on the corner going, hey, what about me over here? They on TV living their dreams.
Right.
What about you? They on TV working their dreams. I'm over here.
Just waiting for you.
Right. There was and I heard a story like that online where I think it was an author had met a person, or she was doing a book signing, and the person came up to her and was thanking her for signing their book. And they're like, I've always wanted to be an author. I've always wanted to write. And the author was like, Okay, well, why aren't you writing?
Right.
And why? Well, because I just don't have time.
Okay.
Really? Well, tell me about your time. What do you do every night? Well, I do this and I do that. And of course, on her list was her favorite TV show. And I never, she was like, tell me what your favorite TV show is. And she told her, she goes, really? And you watch that every week, huh? Really? So what could you be doing with those 2 hours of time that you're watching that show? How about writing your book? And then you could be an author.
How about that?
That's a whole nother way to look at it, huh? So instead of saying I'm too busy, why don't you ask and conversate with yourself about what could I really be doing less of so that I could be doing more of what I really want to be doing.
Indeed. Very, very good point.
Another conversation I've heard, and this one kind of just broke my heart, was when somebody says, I must be unlovable. I'm not married. I'm getting older. I'm not dating. So I just must be unlovable. Nobody can love me. Well, first of all, you said it. I'm unlovable. So guess what you're spitting out in the world? That you're unlovable. So you're probably doing things that are unlovable. You're probably acting unlovable in the first place.
Right.
So what you should be saying is, what do I love about me? You know, how can I put together a list of all the things I love about me and then focus on those things? And then I could be more sure that when the person enters my life, that person will love those things about me too. And I shouldn't accept nothing less than that, right? Sometimes we focus so much on what's wrong with us that we just tend to feel that unlovable thing, and so we attract people who also see the unlovable part of us. So have you ever noticed that? Have you ever seen a woman that walks in her, you know, her beauty and she walks in what she feels and she attracts that to her? So the next time you're thinking how unlovable you are, pick up your chin, lift up that head, pick up your chin off the floor,
your whole face,
and start telling yourself that I am lovable and I do deserve more, and focus on those things that are lovable about you.
Exactly.
And you will start to attract.
Yeah, because the other thing is, like, boost up your quality level. Like, realize that, you know, not just anyone is worthy of you.
And you don't realize that until you start actually having those conversations that I'm worthy. You have to actually start with you first in order for you to be able to accept, to know what to accept and know what not to accept in your life.
Super lovable.
Super. That's right. Write it on your shirt.
Super lovable.
Super lovable. Might have to get some of those, huh?
Exactly. Hashtag 5-star living show. Other questions you could be having is, I can't afford to leave my job even though I hate it and it's making me sick.
Ooh.
Oh. So imagine having that thought and then going into the job.
Every day.
How you gonna feel?
Sick,
tired, hating everybody, miserable, all 8 hours.
And that's gonna go on and on because nothing's gonna change, right? It's going to, every day you wake up and go, it's going to be that same job. So, but all you keep up waking up every morning, I'm sick. I can't afford to leave my job. It's making me sick.
And that coworker's just going to keep nagging at you.
Coworker's going to keep nagging at you. Same thing. So what conversation should you be having?
You should be saying, you know what? There's something I can learn from this job. I'm just getting from point A to point B. It provides, you know, financial assistance, and be working on the next step as you with gratitude, work that job.
Yeah. You should be you should be saying, it's time for me to create an exit plan.
Yes.
So that I can find work in an area that brings me energy and gives me joy.
Yeah.
Brings me energy and gives me joy.
Yes.
It's time for you to start conversating different. Instead of waking up every day saying how much you are sick of the job, say, hey, I'm working on my exit plan.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I remember us having that discussion. We had, what was it, a 90-day exit strategy?
Yes.
And I did it in 30.
And you did it in 30, but you know why? Because you could have kept waking up and saying the same thing. And if you never would have even had that conversation with yourself, like, can I do this? Exactly. Can I really exit? then it would have never even went into motion.
And then too, you know, while I was going through that time frame of the exit plan, it gave me more joy on the job because I knew I was on my way out.
Exactly.
It was like, you know what? Ain't worried about nothing. I'm about to be out of here. I'm going to see you, boo-boo. I'm going to see you. I'm not going to have to do this work because I'm about to be out of here.
And how did that feel?
Great.
Just knowing.
It was great. It was almost
change,
like I had a secret.
But what, same job, right?
Same job.
Same people, right? Mm-hmm. Same circumstances.
Yeah.
And what changed?
My mind, my thought process, what I was saying to myself.
Another reason why it's so important on what the conversations that you're having when you're in that moment, you're in that alone time, you're in that space, and there's things that need to get done and things that you need to change in your life. It's that conversation that you need to have with yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Another conversation, she's so good. I'll never be that good. How many times have you heard that from little girls to grown women? That you'll hear them say, oh, well, she could do that because she's so good.
Yeah.
That's never going to be me. But the conversation you should be having is, I need to ask her how she got that good. Yeah. And what are her habits?
Yeah.
Because how else are you going to learn? You can sit on the sidelines and just sigh and dream and wait and wonder. But most times, I don't know if you've ever done it, but I know I have. I will ask a successful woman, how did you do that? What did you do? What were your habits? Yeah. What were your goals? Where did you learn that? It's, you know, it may be something that, I don't know where I learned that or where I was taught, but there's no other way to learn than by watching other people. Yeah, you can be self-taught, but guess what? That takes a longer time. Yeah. When you can get some tips from someone who's doing it and doing it well, especially something you want to do. Yeah. That's called mentorship. That's called the roadmap. That's something that it should be natural to everyone. Just ask the questions. Don't sit around and just look at that person like they're amazing. They're human beings, just like you. They got the same, they breathe the same air, take the same breaths, take the one step at a time. The only difference is they got up and they started doing it. So what can you do to talk yourself into start doing it as well?
And we all have a special quality. So instead of looking at the next person on what they're so good or great at, we should also look at ourselves that we have something super spectacular as well. We all have a superpower.
We all have a superpower, for sure.
Yeah. Another conversation piece is, this is me. This is how I am, so deal with it.
Ooh, ouch.
Ooh, I don't know how far that's going to get you in life, but
ouch.
You know, we definitely have to be more pliable and not feel like we have to stay who we are and everybody else has to deal with our program. What we should be saying is, I can be strong and I can also be kind.
Yeah, I have a story about this one, you know, right? Because I've always been the strong, but not always so kind. Awesome. Not always so kind. And your brother.
Should we shout him out? Do we shout him out?
Oh, we can shout him out, Mr. DJ Thump. I give him lots of credit. Because one day in the middle of the office, he called me a beast.
Aww.
But he wasn't being mean and cruel. He was just like, you know, you're good at what you do and you're great and that's fine, but you're just such a beast. It's like, could you just bring it down? And it's like, oh. It was like at that moment I stopped and it wasn't hurtful. It was more like
shocking.
Yeah. I don't even the word to use was shocking, like, oh, that's how I'm being seen. Yeah. So I took a step back and I was like, okay, so how could I still be strong, do what I need to do, get the point across without being a beast.
Yeah, but hey, let's be clear though. Oftentimes when we say, "Oh, that's a beast," that's a compliment. That's like major respect. Like, she ain't no joke. She a beast. She gonna get it done.
Right.
So,
and I appreciate that. And that it can be a good thing. But at that moment, it did make me stop and think, you don't have to be, or I don't have to be, and you don't have to be. This is me. This is how I am. Deal with it. Yeah. Because not everybody can take that beast in you. You know, there's a time and place for everything, right? Sure. So when you're in a work environment, there may be another way you need to be. When you're in a event environment, there may be another way you need to be. You should be able to adapt to your surroundings and get it done the way you need to do. So instead of just always thinking, this is me, this is how I am, deal with it, just know that you can be strong, but you can also be kind about it. And you can take a step back and make it happen anyway.
Indeed. Another conversation piece
is, I will try to do better.
That sounds so lame, right?
Try.
I'm a try.
So the Yoda says try. Try not. Just do. I don't know. I'd probably just jack that up. But it's, I will do better. The conversation you should be having with yourself is, I will do better. Not try, because try is already pretty much a failure. Yeah. Would you want somebody to say, I love you?
Right. I'm going to try to love you.
Or I'll try to love you.
Right. I'm going to try. We'll see how it goes.
We'll see how it goes. I'm going to try. Nah, I think I'd rather I will.
Yeah. Indeed. So we've touched on the surface of some conversations that can be changed. But in a few moments, we're going to go a little deeper and talk about some conversations that you may already be having or you've never had, but definitely should be having.
But first,
make sure you like us on Facebook at 5 Star Living Show, and remember to subscribe on YouTube.
Yay!
So, conversations you should be having. What is it that I love to do, and how can I be doing more of it?
Yes. Some people never even touch the surface on this conversation. Some people are just going through life and living and not really concerned about what it is that they should be doing more of. And they're not understanding why they're feeling the way they're feeling, because they're adapting to either what needs to be done at work or what needs to be done for the family or what needs to be done for their friends. Yeah. But they never take that step back to say, what do I love?
Yeah. And it's a horrible place to be unfulfilled.
Yeah.
You don't know where the pain, the agony, the stress is coming from, because you haven't really asked yourself, what is it that I want? What do I love?
Have that conversation with yourself, like right now.
Not now, but right.
Right now. Another conversation you should be having is, who am I? Mm-hmm. Beyond all these titles, beyond the mom or the president or the assistant, or who am I?
Who am I?
Who am I? What do I like to do?
Yeah.
Am I compassionate? Am I, this person who likes to travel? Am I, who am I? Mm-hmm. Or do I just go with the flow of the wind? Mm. Have that conversation with yourself beyond the titles.
That's excellent. And what is happiness to me?
Yes. Not who can make me happy.
Yeah.
Not what I can watch to be happy.
Right.
But when I define happiness, what does that overall picture look like?
Yeah. Not seeing what another person's happiness is, because that may not be your level of happiness.
Right. You see somebody with all this and all that, car, house, traveling, jets and kids, and then you find out that
that's not really what makes me
happy at all. There was the movie, I think Kingdom Come. There was Beyonce and I want to say Toni Braxton. I don't remember who was in it, but one of them was the rich sister. One of them had the husband who was always coming up with inventions, and so the of course the one who didn't have a lot of money was looking at the sister like, oh, but you just have everything, your house, your car, and your man, he's doing this and doing that. And she was like, yeah, but I don't ever see him. He ain't never home. No.
Right.
What you all have. So everybody's happiness looking on the outside looking in looks different to somebody. Somebody always wants what somebody else wants. True. But the key thing is figure out what you want. Figure out what makes you happy. Another conversation you should be having with yourself is, how can I be of help in this world?
Yes.
It doesn't have to be big. It could be small, but whatever it is, there's something that you should be doing in this world that helps someone. Yeah. Not only does it help people, but it also makes you feel good. Whether that's a church, a nonprofit, whether you mentor one person in this world, you should be asking yourself, how could I help in this world?
Make your mark.
It's your legacy. Leave it behind.
And definitely what you were saying about how it makes you feel on the inside.
Yeah.
Doing or helping others always feels great.
Always.
Unless you're being used and abused. But when you're giving of yourself, boy, that really fuels you, huh?
It does. It does. It keeps you going, and then usually it gets paid forward.
Yes, it does.
It
always comes back.
Always comes back and gets paid forward. So coming up, we're about to share some very valuable tips with you about how you could start living more 5-star by talking to yourself. But first,
make sure to like us on Facebook at 5-Star Living Show. We want to hear from you. So give us some feedback. Yeah. What do you want to learn more about when it comes to mind, body, and soul while loving more and laughing more? So, a few ways that you could be living a more 5-star life by talking to yourself.
Talking to yourself.
I talk to myself all the time.
So having conversations with yourself leads to growth, both mentally and spiritually. Most things that happen start as a thought. Then that thought becomes something that you say out loud. And then that something that you say out loud becomes an action.
Yes, it does. It's self-help. It's talk therapy. Another way to know that you're alive on the inside. Just simply saying things like, you can do this, I can do this.
Yes.
Over and over again can give you that courage and remove some of the anxiety that you could feel moving forward.
And then positive conversations with yourself often yield positive results, while negative conversations with yourself will yield negative results. So if you want positive, you need to flip those negative conversations you've been having and turn them into positive conversations.
Indeed. And it can also help with your focus.
Yep.
There are so many distractions in today's world. And so talking out loud or through a problem helps you to focus on the present moment, and your own voice becomes a distraction that you need to actually do what it is you need to do.
To get done what you need to do. And then finally, schedule your self-talk. Because
I'm going to talk to myself.
Having that meeting with one of the most important people in the world, which is yourself, should always be your top priority.
Indeed. Well, the producer say that's our time.
What? Hey, Mr. Producer. All right. We hear you.
Right. So we want to thank you for listening to us and joining us on this 5-star day. We believe in you, and we believe that you can have a 5-star day starting right now.
Right now. We know you could have been anywhere, but you chose to be right here with us. So for that, we thank you. And we look forward to seeing you on Facebook at 5-Star Living Show, and join us in the 5-Star Living Inner Circle, because we want you to laugh more and love more while taking care of your mind, body, and soul.
Yeah, so do us a favor on purpose.
On purpose.
Make it a point to have a 5-star day.
The 5-Star Living Show is sponsored in part by MVPphotographer.com, and special thanks goes out to our super producer, Mr. Dana Scott.
Thank you for listening to the 5-Star Living Show. Take care of your mind, body, and soul. And remember, love more and laugh more.